got my co-host, Mac Daddy, aka Alex
up?
Maclin.
Dude, this is like full circle.
We're rolling into 2023 and we're doing the dang thing. So Let's go, baby. Today will just kind of be a fun little shoot the shit episode. So kind of a little more informal, but obviously we can't roll into fun topics like nutrition or fitness, health and wellness, women's health, anything like that. You got to have an intro to get into the meat and potatoes.
Maybe people don't know who we are.
Right, totally. My name is LCK. For those that don't know, I am a nutrition fitness coach. I have been doing the damn thing for over 15 years now, which ages me a little. I feel like time flies when you're certainly having fun. But I am the founder of Paragon Training Methods, which is an online workout and fitness community. And so, man, 15 freaking years. It's like back in high school, actually, if we dial it way back in time, I was a competitive gymnast, big athlete all my life. So, I ran track, did volleyball, did gymnastics from the time I was 5 up and through high school. And so long story short, it's like I had never experienced struggling with my body, stressing over the food that I was eating because, it's like when you're so freaking active, it's like, I love like thinking back on this and be like, what'd your nutrition look like in, junior high and high school? And you're like, hell yeah, rolling through Taco Bell and McDonald's, right? Like get freaking some. And so, here I was in high school. I'd never stressed over my body, never stressed over food or anything like that. And so, I was 17 or 18 years old and suddenly just felt like dog shit. And so I was sleeping upwards of 10 to 12 hours a night. And then actually as like things went on, like I started missing school because it'd be like I was just so tired. So, I went to basically get some blood work, see a doctor, get things checked out because at the end of the day, it's like I was really, really tired. I was sleeping, 10 to 12 hours a night. But for the first time ever, here I was suddenly gaining weight, struggling with my body composition, feeling really uncomfortable in my skin. And so did some testing and turned out I was... Ooh,
that's my fault. That's my fault. Wow. My bad.
Forgot the silence.
Yeah, my bad. That's my bad. The spam callers, man. The spam callers.
It's fine. But so I ended up being diagnosed with hypothyroidism. Basically, that is a disorder. It revolves around the gland in your neck. And so your thyroid regulates everything to your body temperature, your sleep, your mood, obviously going to be heavily connected to your menstrual cycle, your hormones, all that stuff. And so, felt like dog shit. Got prescribed medication, but ultimately I didn't feel better. My doctor didn't really offer any advice or where things to go from there other than like, hey, pop a pill, take this thing. And so it was right around the time that, I was about to go off to college. And so kind of stepped back and went like, okay, well, ultimately, if my doctor can't help me feel better, I need to be the CEO of my own health. And, what can I do to kind of get to the bottom of this and, figure out how to feel better. And so ended up doing a degree and got my bachelor's in food nutrition dietetics. Turns out, for those that don't know, I'm from Bloomington Normal, Illinois, which if you looked on a map, if you basically go to the bumfuck middle of Illinois, where there's cornfields, there's bring your tractor.
I gotta go there sometime at some point.
I mean, you can do everything there is to see there by, probably 2 hours in.
Yeah.
But so, it's like I decided to pursue a degree in nutrition. And so turns out, I was always one of those kids. I knew I wanted to move to a big city, thought I'd like go off to Chicago or Seattle or, somewhere cool. And then turned out Illinois State, like literally walking distance from my dad's house, had one of the best nutrition dietetics programs. And so grinded, I actually spent 5 years, doing college, but basically got my degree. And so when I got into college, I quickly realized that everything in the nutrition dietetic space was super outdated. And so here we are still.
Kind of still is.
Oh, and it still is. It's like my boyfriend Charlie was actually kind of playing around with, okay, maybe I'll go to school for nutrition too. And it's like, I'm like, I graduated in 2013. I went off to college in 2008. But, here we are still, again, it's about to be 2023. And it's like all of his classes were actually the literal same, where it was like talking about food pyramid, talking about, all these outdated things. And so I spent so much of my college also just like having a life crisis, because I was like, okay, I thought I was going to, learn stuff here. And I thought that I was going to be able to also help people in a similar position of just struggling with food, struggling with their body, thought I would be like equipped and, armed to do that. And then, well, shit, turns out like I actually knew, especially like later in college, I knew more about nutrition than was actually being pushed in school and stuff. So it's like, I always joke, and still my parents give me shit to this day, but it's like, how many weekends I would call and just like cry to my parents and be like, yo, like, this isn't it. Like, I need, we need an abort mission or something. They'd be like, dude, just like get the paper and we'll figure it out. And so I graduated in 2013, got my degree. And so my like escape plan was that I had discovered lifting and strength training and CrossFit in college. And so I was like super amped about like the CrossFit world, the weight training and stuff, because it's like, I had spent so much of, my college experience just being at war with my body and struggling to figure out, the nutritional things I need to do to just help myself feel better. And, so it was like, okay, what's the game plan? And my game plan was like, well, hey, mom and dad, I know you just, let me go to college. I'm going to go be a CrossFit coach and coach, group classes. Right. And so, I mean, hey,
like, what the fuck?
like totally like there goes all that money and you're going to do this. Like what? But so, hey, you got to roll. So I moved to Dallas 2 weeks after I graduated college, helped open up a CrossFit gym called CrossFit Big D. And so, I was about it, right? Because in my head, I was like, okay, I'm still helping people. If I can give people the best hour of their day, if I can, help them, have a really, really awesome hour in the gym. Well, how many other things does that apply to in life? And, where can that go? And so fast forward over time, ended up coaching with CrossFit gymnastics seminar staff. I was super passionate about like the competitive CrossFit side of things. And so it was natural that, I'd go on and aim to go to CrossFit regionals. And so sure enough, competed in 2016. And so I ended up tearing my shoulder during the snatch ladder. And so it kind of made me also just reevaluate like, what am I doing? Also, like here, I'm getting into my mid 20s and like, what's my long-term game plan here? Like, what are we doing? Cause like, anybody that's coached any sort of fitness or group fitness classes, like it is a passion project. It is not one that like also pays well and does, you're not going to be 40 years old and probably still, coaching classes and getting by. It's like, you'd have to be hustling. You'd have to have multiple jobs and stuff like that. And so I ended up, getting back into nutrition coaching and doing one-on-one coaching. Ended up working for a really big nutrition coaching company as their director of education.
When did you start, by the way?
So the thing is, it's like I kind of started, it would have been 2007, 2008 is when I, it's like I literally made waves. It's like, no, totally. It's like ADHD level 5,000. It's like I get really hyped about something, and that's like I still joke about like Charlie these days, where I'm like, dang, I'm like not loyal to a lot of things, but like we're still here. Like hell yeah. But so it's like, and that was right around the time that I actually met you, was that 2017 time frame when I was working for IM3 Nutrition and do all the coaching stuff. And so, if we kind of fast forward present day, it's like, it's cool because all of the things that I did, ended up coming full circle. In 2018, I started working for myself. I launched my own nutrition coaching business rather than, before I was always just working for other people. But mutually I'd be like, but why do we do things this way? Or like, why would we ever, do X, Y, Z? And so it makes sense that, if you know me present day, it's like, I'm so strong opinioned and, just very like my way or the highway. And so it would make sense that I would go on to, be a business owner, launch my own thing. So 2018 is when I officially started working for myself. I was doing one-on-one coaching. That was the same year that we launched Paragon Training Methods. And the reason for that was, here I was seeing the same thing over and over with people where it'd be like, well, damn, like I can give the best nutrition advice in the world, but like if your exercise blows or you're doing random ass shit, like I can't help you maximize that, right? It's like as many variables as we can control, like that's when we, the secret sauce to things. But also it was like, especially coming off of competitive CrossFit, tearing my shoulder, having surgery, all of that stuff. It's like, I've learned so many freaking things the hard way. And that really brings it back to like why I'm so excited to finally be launching this podcast. It's like, I learned so many things the hard way. And how do I help people skip the learning curve? How do I help people, not go through all the pain and the agony that I experienced? Because literally it's like from everything from bad diets to, it's like if I really look back from the time I like graduated college all the way up through like even my late 20s, it's like I wasn't eating enough food. I was training too freaking much, just doing the most, like quite literally, to the point where it was like, fuck, man, like the number of years I was training 5, 6, 7 days a week and like just living under this more is better, hashtag no rest days as, this badge of honor. Right. So it's like and that was so greatly intertwined with why I wanted to, work for myself. It's like, okay, as we're posting to social media and doing these things, it's like, well, if I can put out content for free, and Instagram was just that, right? It's like this avenue that you can post little blogs or you can post little pieces of content. And so you're giving tips about nutrition and fitness. And it was just so cool to be able to reach thousands, quite literally thousands of people over time. And so I started posting to social media, things started to take off. And so ironically, Barbell Shrugged was actually my very first, podcast episode. Like shout out to Doug and the whole gang. Cause it's like that really projected, me kind of into everything. And so, over the past, it's been like 4.5 years. So over the past, 4.5 years of working for myself, it's like I've been on, live TV with Fox News. I've been, published in magazines. Obviously, I've just put out thousands and thousands of social media posts and videos and all this stuff over the years of just, again, it's like, little snippets and little things that, hey, put this into practice, go do these things. And so like, how cool is it also though, that again, it's like social media afforded me the opportunity to meet so many people just like you. And, here we are doing the thing, fast forward present day. So, it's just really, it's so cool to look back on because again, it's like present day, I have such a healthy relationship with the way I eat, the way I exercise, the way I live life. And it's like, you have to sometimes go through the extremes to get there. And definitely, it's like, man, like I remember way back in the day when we used to hang out.
I remember when I first met you, like it was, I mean, like, you would shame me for eating.
Come over with like Whataburger to my house and literally just be like, the fuck perform is this kid right now? But yeah, so it's like, here we are present day. I have stepped away from one-on-one coaching because I kind of realized like, man, I really have this gift and I really have this way of being able to just connect and communicate with people because it's like, I always say the best coaches are the people that have been through stuff because it's really, it's really hard to talk about something if you haven't actually lived it. So you can fucking read, books all day long, but it's like, pregnancy and postpartum is a great thing, as an example. It's like, I can talk about it. I can tell you, what we understand to happen to hormones or what to happen to XYZ. But it's like your best coach for pregnancy and postpartum is still going to be a mom that has, lived it as the experience, been through it and all of that stuff. But let's get on to you, Mr. Mac Daddy. What you got for us?
Yeah. I mean, where do I begin? I don't know. I mean, we kind of have similar stories, like similar past, not the same, but very similar. Like, I definitely was not an athlete growing up. I didn't do hardly anything like athletic at all. I was a complete bookworm nerd for sure. But like, I mean, that's kind of where my story kind of begins because I was going, I graduated college. And I was frat daddy for sure. Your boy partied like frat daddy, right? Went to college, graduated, and then didn't really know what I wanted to do. I studied engineering, just because everybody like told me that's what I should study, right? Because like that's how you be successful in life. You get a good job and you make 9 to 5, and you buy a house, have kids, whatever.
Safe job with benefits, like, and
that really never like stuck out for me. I don't know. I just never really jive with that. But anyways, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I went to graduate school to like basically figure it out. And went to graduate school, hated it. It just was not for me, and was also still doing the same crazy stuff, like still partying, still doing a lot of stuff, like wasn't healthy at all. I think I was like, at one point I got up like 200 pounds, like super. I mean, I'm 5'7", 5'8", right? Like I'm not a big person. And so like, it was not a good 200 pounds. Like it was like, hey, we're drinking Mountain Dew and eating pizza and drinking beer all the time. So it's like, and I found it, and during grad school, I found, CrossFit. So like, that's where I met Doug Larson, Mike Bledsoe, and the guys who started Barbell Shrug Podcast, which is why like this is funny because it's going full circle. So like,
bro, first of all, like this was probably like 2013 me. Like, again, I was like deep in the CrossFit sauce, and like here I am, present day bodybuilder and stuff. But it's like, I remember being like, oh my God, barbell shrug. So again, it's the full circle thing of like, how fucking cool.
So I was just basically like a gym rat. And then I hung around the gym, and I became friends with like Doug and all them. And they asked me to like, hey, I got really into Olympic weightlifting actually. So I started competing in Olympic weightlifting, and they asked me like, hey, do you want to work in the fitness industry? Do you want to like coach with, because they had started like training programs, and they had actually got a lot of success with that, and they needed some coaching. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know how to do that, but I mean, sure. Yeah. And then I remember telling my mom, and she was like, what are you doing? Like, are you crazy? Like, you're going to drop out of school to do this? And I'm like, yeah, like, cause I hate it. I remember, I think the straw that broke the camel's back was like, I had spent like 2 years writing this paper, and then my professor like basically published it and like just totally rewrote it. And I'm like, this is it. I'm done. And I wrote an article on like Olympic weightlifting and nutrition or whatever. And it was like 100,000 people like saw it or something like that. And I'm like, I'm done. Cause that publication, I think I go back and look at it. I think maybe like 5 people have cited it. I don't know. So like,
amazing.
Yeah. So like, I realized like the impact I can make in the fitness industry was a lot better. And I feel I don't know, something driven within me. I'm just like kind of a natural like coach, teacher. I like to help people, right? Like just same with you. Like, I like to help people make an impact, help people change their lives. And I got to do a lot of that when I was working with Shrug as a coach, which I started back in like 2014. So it's almost been like, 10 years or so. And then, I end up leaving Shrugged around the same time where I met you, actually. So like I left Shrugged in 2017, and I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I was already like coaching people like one-on-one with nutrition, and also doing some weightlifting coaching at the time. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this. It was scary as hell, but like, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but that's kind of how it rolls. And then I remember, because I used to host the podcast, I co-hosted for a little while. And I remember that's where I met Jason Phillips, who was the founder of IN3 and also NCI. And so, I still kind of had connection with him, and I talked to him, and he invited me to come to NCI, like in Las Vegas. And that's where I met you. And then I just remember like, this girl was like, she was like dropping all the knowledge in the seminar. Like, yeah, like Jason was talking and doing stuff, and we were talking about nutrition, but Laurie was like the queen, like just dropping all this knowledge. And I was super, super impressed by like how like she knew all this stuff, and then could like also convey it in a way where it's like this, like very, very, very intelligently. Right. And then, so I was like, man, like, I think I want to hire her as like a coach, right? Because I knew you were coaching too. So I wanted to hire you because I wanted to learn from you, but like how to also, coach better. And then, where can I get this information? Because I think the best way to like, if you're a coach, like to be a better coach is also to coach people, but also to learn from really good coaches, right? Like get mentored by like really awesome coaches. So, yeah, and then we just became friends, right?
It's like we like mutually slid into each other's DMs, like so freaking fun to think about. To clarify, NCI would be Nutritional Coaching Institute. So basically, that was a company started by Jason Phillips, who the whole goal is it is a program to help coaches learn the information they need to know, but B, how people can basically get into coaching, make a living out of it and stuff like that. And so it was like so funny because again, it's just like we like long distance vibe through the room because it was like same thing. Like I remember it was just like Alex and I kind of like chatted, a couple times over the weekend and just like, dude, like whatever sauce he's putting down, like I'm picking it up, like let's go. So it's like Alex had, messaged me on Instagram and same thing. Like ironically, I was like in the act of reaching out to him and just like, hey, like I don't know what we're doing, but like we should hang. Like you seem like good company, and so it's so funny to think about, right? Because it's like you ended up moving to Austin in was that 2018?
19, yeah.
2019. Okay, so 2019. So you went off to Thailand.
Yeah.
you were doing crazy stuff, and then you moved. But it was like we just like instantly became attached at the hip, and it was like obviously when you see a female and a male spending all this time together, it's like the people would be like, "Yo, like so y'all a thing? Like you." You like you doing stuff and be like no, actually. So I also like can't wait for the Q&A, if we do some Q&A podcasts, people will be like, yo, so for real, you ever hooked up? And we'd be like, no, but like nobody ever believed us. But also mutually, it's like, we would spend like every day together. We, during quarantine, playing Xbox, playing Diablo 3, playing all the goodness, right? But yeah, so it's like Alex and I basically started. I was his coach, and I remember you weighed 185 pounds, and I remember you sent over your check-in picture, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this kid's six-pack. Like you were still so shredded and so awesome looking. Just so strong, so awesome looking at 185 pounds.
Yeah, I competitive weightlifted for like almost at that time like 6 years or so. So yeah.
Totally. But mutually, you weren't eating shit for food.
No, I was definitely not. And that was always a big struggle. That was always honestly a big struggle with for me. It was the nutrition aspect, and that's why that originally was like got me into coaching people, and then obviously like working with you and being mentored and things like that. Like really understanding like, hey, like we need to definitely fuel ourselves properly, right? And that's one of the big things like for me. Like working with people, like I work now as a coach, and I have my own coaching business, and actually have two assistant coaches. One of them is Christina, and another is Aaron, who is the admin for Paragon Training Methods in our Facebook group. So like my main thing is, I'm not like I'm not like a meathead fitness person. Like I didn't study it in college. I didn't go to school for it. Of course, like I've learned over the years and did certifications and studied and things like that on my own. But like a lot of stuff I feel like in the fitness industry is just for people, for the normal person, for the average person is just so, it's complicated. And then also you'll hear like 20 different thousand things. And, that was the main thing for me is like helping people just really kind of like navigate and make stuff like simpler and more basic. And because that stuff works, right? Like, and that's really what I really try to do and help people find that kind of sustainable lifestyle. Cause I think like the big thing about health, at least for me, like fitness and health, like helped me realize that like, yeah, this is a life that like I can enjoy and be healthy and be strong. And then like, I love it. Like this is wake up every day. Like I love doing what I'm doing. I feel good. Like that's what I want from people. Right. And so that's what really got me into coaching and, now doing what I'm doing. So, now we're I cut it short, but like now we're on podcasts, and like I was doing a podcast like a few years ago. Now we're doing a podcast, and we met through the same kind of podcast circle, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy.
Well, and also like how funny is it? Because it was like you went to the Fitness Business Summit in 2017, 2018?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, somewhere around that time.
It was like I want to say like March of 2018.
It was early 2018 because it was right after I started my coaching business.
Yeah. And so it's like you were headed there. And I remember it was like when we were first still just kind of like shooting the shit. And it was like, hey, so like I'm headed to the Fitness Business Summit in San Diego, like you. And so like, how funny is it that here next month, I'll be moving to San Diego,
I know.
You know, now located in California, as we start this podcast is, you know, really freaking funny. But it's been such a gift truly to watch both of us grow in the ways that we approach our nutrition and approach our fitness. Cause it's like, when you met me, I was still so deep in eating disorders and just so many disordered habits in general. You know, I was so afraid of taking rest days. Everything was very like black and white for me. And it was just like this white knuckling, like everything had to be clean, right? Clean eating. And I could only, you know, buy things if they were organic and grass fed and, you know, all these things. And it was so life-changing to be around somebody that just normalized like, yo, I work out really hard and I can also eat things like Whataburger or In-N-Out and like, you know, still do the thing, right? But it's like when you don't have that and you're just so afraid of food and so afraid of, you know, alcohol was something I struggled with for so freaking long because in my brain, I had wired this, you know, this scenario where it'd be like, yo, like if you drink, it's going to make you fat. Like there's just no way that these things can coexist. And, you know, present day, it's like, I now, you know, it's like I maybe have a drink once or twice a year because I just don't like how it makes me feel the next day. You know, I cannot handle the depression, the anxiety. I feel like, especially once I hit 30, it just like, whatever that situation is, my body cannot hang. But, you know, it's like to have somebody that just was, you know, like we were completely opposite in so many things, but it was just so
kind
good to like be around.
Out, right?
Yeah, like osmosis. And then, you know, reversely, it's you know, it's like, it's been cool because over the years, you know, you kind of went from CrossFitter to Olympic weightlifter to now, you know, you're super passionate about jujitsu and the BJJ. And in addition to obviously bodybuilding, you know, fast forward for me, it's like I've done a little bit of everything because in college, I actually ran marathons. So I was like your 5K, half marathon, oh, you know, go get lost in the trees for 2 hours. And so part of the reason why CrossFit was like so appealing was it was like, yo, I can go to the gym and I'm an extrovert and I get to like do things with people, right? But it was like, so it's why I'm so passionate about lifting and getting people into the gym and you know, finding the barbell and stuff like that is it's like, you know, lifting heavy weight changed my life because it got me to stop micromanaging my body and it got me to stop thinking about, you know, just what my body looked like and instead, you know, celebrate all the amazing things that my body could do. And you know, it became this transaction of, you know, and I think about this all the time because it's like people will rag on companies that, you know, maybe promote working out for aesthetics, you know, kind of like Paragon does, you know, it's like ultimately at the end of the day, we want to help people look good, feel good and reach whatever goals they have, whether that's performance, you know, whatever it is. And so there's kind of this connotation in the fitness and wellness industry where it's like people will knock on you when you're like, oh, you know, I just want to look good or I want to chase aesthetics. And it's like, hey, listen, like if that's ultimately what gets you in the door to fitness and then it ends up being the gateway to, oh shit, you know, that's cool. What, you know, this week, I squatted a barbell. Well, next week, can I lift more weight? Next week, can I lift more weight? And so it was so transformative for me because I just stopped caring what I looked like. And I got so obsessed with just wanting to be a better athlete and perform well in the gym. And just like that feeling of feeling so strong, so badass and like almost unstoppable. Like that sounds so lame to say out loud, right?
I agree. It's an amazing feeling. Like, I mean, that's what I gravitated me towards, you know, Olympic weightlifting. Like, I mean, I literally never lifted weights like to that level, like, you know, competitive level. And I was like, I remember the first day at CrossFit gym, I couldn't even squat like body weight. And I mean, that was like 70 pounds or 80 pounds or whatever. Like I couldn't even do that. And then, I
folded like a little shrimp taco.
5 years later, I'm sitting there like squatting like 400 for reps and like snatching like 250 and like all that kind of stuff. And like, same thing. I mean, lifting heavy definitely changed my life, like lifting big weights. Like, and I mean, maybe this is a good time to segue into like talk about like what, like, cause I would love, cause you kind of recently came up with this slogan, right? Like live big. And, obviously we're talking about lifting big weights, but like what, like, I mean, if people don't know Laurie, like Laurie definitely like does life, right? Like what does that mean to you? Like the living big aspect, what does that mean?
So I think the cool part is, we can take face value of lift big and live big to be straight up what they are, right? Lifting big weights in the gym, or it can also mean, it's like, it sounds lame to be like, oh, it's so metaphorical, right? But I just think there's so much application of, well, how many of us go through really hard trauma and really hard things in life that, we hope people don't experience. And you have that weight on the back of your shoulders that, you have to get through, or situations that you need to move on and get out of or whatever. But it's like the big thing with like kind of where Live Big came from was in coaching, every single space that I stepped into, I was kind of this disruptor in the space of, it's like, when I was really struggling with my hormones and really struggling with my health, my thyroid, all of this stuff, especially kind of from the I'd say like 2016 to 2020 bubble. It's like I was just in this place where it was like, man, like I have to make changes to the way that I'm eating and exercising and all this stuff. It's like I'm doing the most and my body is not able to hang with it. And so when I got really passionate about, researching and figuring out, okay, what are the things that I can do to improve my hormone health? What are the things I can do to improve, my thyroid health and all of these things? It's like I had little bubbles that I would get, it's like I get really excited about something. So that's the content I was always producing. That was the things I was always talking about. So it's like, if you looked back over time, it's like when I was a competitive athlete, that's what, that's the things I was talking about. When I, got really nerdy about hormones and women's health and thyroid stuff, that's the things I was talking about. And so, fast forward present day, it's like I've always just been such a disruptor in the space of like, hey, in an industry that's always telling you to shrink your body and, profits off of you quite literally being at war with your body and hating the way you look and being uncomfortable in your skin, for Paragon Training Methods to be this fitness company that's promoting for women to actually feed themselves. And hey, this is how much food you need to be eating in a day. And hey, like take rest days. And yes, we have program deload days. Here's how to get the most from doing the least so you can go live a big life. That's been such a big thing as we've, grown Paragon over the years is like, hey, how do we help people maximize their time in the gym so they can get in, get jacked and get on with life, right? Because it's like so many people lose out on life because they're not in pictures. It's like, even if we look at, we just passed Christmas time, how many people probably avoided being in pictures with family or loved ones because they don't feel good in their skin or they're uncomfortable with their body. It's like how many people are so hyper fixated. And again, it's like, I live this where it's like, if you met me in 2015, I was spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day at the gym for what, right? It's like, it isn't until present day, like how much literally, it's like fast forward present day is, it's like if you scroll me on Instagram, it's like, quite literally, we just went and skydived this morning. And then, here I am, it's midnight and I'm like typing away on my computer. But it's just, it's like healing my relationship with my body, with exercise, with food, with nutrition. It's afforded me the ability to now just enjoy life and all the things that life has to offer, right? It's like that I never grew up traveling. Again, being from a small, like Midwest town, you like don't do that. Like you just, you stay in your little bubble. And I really related, when you kind of said, hey, like when I went off to college, I just wasn't digging this 9 to 5 and the safe job and, all that stuff. It was like growing up, I always felt like this black sheep. And I always, it was square peg round hole of like, well, hey, like actually, I don't believe you should have a job that you hate and that you dread going to every day. But it's like in the Midwest, everything is like that, where it's like, oh, get your safe job, find your person, get married ASAP, start pumping out kids, and it's just like this expectation and this thing. And here, it was like initially, right after college, I actually worked at State Farm. I sold insurance because Bloomington Normal, where I'm from, is headquarters for freaking insurance. And so, sure enough, it's like I had all the things. I was making okay money. I had the 401k, and I had never been so miserable in my life. So it's like I remember I worked there exactly 6 months to the dot, and I remember I called both of my parents. And I was like, "Hey, listen. This was cool and all. It's definitely not for me. I love it for anybody. Like if you love it, go get some, but like this isn't me." And, it's like, even in my world, I've always just been so passionate about, it's like, I didn't come from money. It's not something I grew up with. And so it's not something that is motivational for me or, wasn't exciting for me. And so, it's like, I've always been just like on the other end of, I want to love what I do and I want to feel like I'm making a difference. And, it's like with nutrition coaching, the thing that attracted me to nutrition coaching is we can go, at the other 23 hours a day. Like if we're coaching a fitness class or something, it's like, well, yeah, I can give somebody the best hour of their day. But nutrition goes after the other, 24/7, 365, right? And so it's like, that's, what got me into nutrition coaching as well, is just, it's like, man, if I can get here and I can get to this really awesome, harmony with all of these things that I used to have just such disordered, habits and relationships with, like, if I can get there, oh my gosh, like you can get there too, right? It's like, it doesn't have to be that way for you. And so, it's why I've just been so passionate about all of it, because it's like, hey, if we can help people eat well and, show up and feel their best, it's like, I always would tell people in my introduction calls for nutrition, be like, hey, listen, it's like, right now, you probably feel like shit and you don't even know it, right? It's like, we don't know how terrible we feel until we know what it's like to feel good. But, it's like, as a result of us working one-on-one together with our coaching, well, you're going to show up as a better wife or a better husband. You're going to show up as, a better parent, a better, whatever it is you're at your job, right? And so it's like, the gym is self-development, having really good nutrition habits and understanding how to actually take care of your body. That's life-changing. And so when we're not spending all of that time hyper obsessing about what we look like and, stressing over our food and the way we're exercising, it just frees up so much space to go do cool stuff and travel. And again, that's something that you've gotten into like the past 2 years. And it's been so cool to see, is it's like, oh shit, like Alex is in Colombia this month.
This March, though.
I know. We're going to record a podcast with some camels in the background. Like shit. But it's like for me, it's like, I find so much joy in chaos and I find so much joy in being uncomfortable. And so for so many people, I think it's so easy to get settled into situations that feel safe, or maybe it's relationships that aren't serving us. And then we, it's like, maybe we get out of that relationship and then we realize like, oh man, like there's so much more, or there's so many better opportunities. So it's like, I love shaking the snow globe. Here, the most perfect example, right, is it's like,
that's a great example.
Charlie and I like dip down, most perfect example, very on brand. Here it's like, we decided to drive down to San Diego. Like we definitely, so right now we live in Newport and we're more Orange County than we are LA people, but we've always been more San Diego than we are Newport people. And so it's like, we're kind of bored and we decided to like, book a trip down to San Diego, do a little fun. Like we rent an Airbnb. And so we were sitting at breakfast and we were waiting and like made the mistake just for shits and giggles of like Googling rent, which if anybody knows, like Newport is
go on Zillow and like look up like what's the average rent or what's this house going for in Boise, Idaho. Where we at?
Yeah. So it's like, here we are sitting at breakfast, and it's like Newport is one of the most expensive places to live in California. But initially when I moved out, it was just like, I had so many friends here, and I already knew people, and I knew that I wanted to go to California. So it's like a year ago, it was a safe move, because it was like, well, like I could get started in Newport and then, see where I shake out. And so the like too long didn't read versions. It's like, we went down the coast, we rented an Airbnb, and then within 4 days later, we had signed a lease on a place in San Diego.
How many leases is wthis in like 5 years? Like, where are we at right now?
So I, on average, will live at somewhere so usually,
but
it's usually about the 5 to 6 month mark. And the thing is, it's like, at first everything is super cool and I'm like so stoked about it. And then time goes on and I'm like, okay, but like, what's next? So it's like, I just love shaking up my snow globe of, it's like, and so many people are like, yo, but I hate moving. I hate all of these things. And it's like, yeah, but I think especially like having social media, love it. It's like, I love posting about beauty and house stuff and, what I'm up to. So it's like, if every single day is Groundhog Day, that doesn't make for very exciting, it doesn't make for content, right? But it was like, we moved down and it was like, here I found myself in old habits of like, I was Googling like, okay, where do we go get coffee? Where do we go get food? Checking out all the things to do. And so it's like, it's like we literally did a weekend getaway and then 4 days later we had signed an apartment lease.
That's the life you like. That's the life you love living, right? Like, and that's, I mean, I think that's like really a big essence of like what this about, right? Like being able to live the life you love living. I definitely jive with that in the same way. And, like really, like I said earlier, I that's one of my main passions, as a coach, is to help people, find that life that they love living. Cause that's the life, I think we all can have, and I think, at least for me, like that's what like lifting, getting into fitness, like really brought for me too. Like getting able to do all these things and meet all these people and, and have all these experiences and stuff like that. Like,
well, and think about social media, right? Because it's like social media really kind of saw both of us grow up. If you think about it, it's like I started posting to Instagram right around like 2017, 2018. And it's like, I went from this kid that, I was doing all these things and I've always been like a do the most person. But it's like, I was, 2018 when I first launched, working for myself and stuff like that. It's like, and it's funny to think about because you actually stayed at the Bat Cave, but it was like, I literally had a 400 square foot apartment in Austin. It like didn't have windows. It was across the street from like an Orange Theory, but it was like this little 400 square foot, Bat Cave of an apartment. And every single month it's like, I would like pay bills and be like, just barely scraping by. And so fast forward over time, it was like, well, shit, it's like at the end of the day, I just doubled down on, hey, I know I have a gift and hey, I know I can help people. And I was so hyper obsessed with just, coaching and helping people that with that came the financial freedom over time that, I was able to, move to a bunch of cool, different, condos, apartments, stuff like that. I was able to buy my dream car with cash, straight up cash. Right. And so it's like over time, people got to see me go from being somebody that was really unhappy and, just kind of spinning my wheels and stuff. And over time, I was able to create a business where I'm helping people and I was able to build a life of freedom where I could travel 2 to 3 times a month to, wherever and whenever I wanted. I could work and have freedom to, again, it's like to do my job, I literally need Wi-Fi. That's all I need, my phone, my Wi-Fi and a laptop. Right. And so it's like, so much possibility of like, hey, if you love that 9 to 5 lifestyle and you want to get married and have kids and, all of that's great. I love that for you. But again, for me, that's never been my truth. And that's never been something that, again, still to this day, I don't have a desire to have any kids. I really just want to travel. I always want to be shaking my snow globe, moving to different places. It's like, I know even for you and I, we've talked so many times where it'd be like, dude, do we just get on like the every 3 months? Like it's like Jenny and Aaron Strager, like the every 3 months, like we're going to go live in Bali for 3 months and then 3 months in Australia and just like bop around. It's like, to be honest, I probably would have been on that train sooner, but just especially with Paragon and needing to film, fitness content, it's like, well, we need a videographer, we need regular things. But like, meanwhile, you're still like, yo, I think I'm going to go like live in Mexico or Spain or somewhere cool, right? So it's like, opening that, sharing my truth and sharing the things that I've been through, but also the things that I've aspired to do. It's like how many people and have messaged over the years just saying, dude, like, thank you for sharing that you don't want kids. Like, I've always felt so out of place and, so many people that's the norm. And I've just, I've never lived that truth and that's never been me. Like, thank you for normalizing this and making me feel seen. Same thing, the number of people that have messaged over the years and be like, dude, like you didn't directly do this, but as a result of following you, like it inspired me to go try to do something I love for a living and build this dream life and all this stuff, right? Same thing, the number of people where it's like, I think especially 2020 opened up so many opportunities of like, listen, life is literally too short to have a job you hate and, just a life you hate in general. So like, if this is your opportunity to go change it, this is it, right? It's like, quit your job, go do things that light you up and make you happy. So it's just so cool that, sharing my journey, my struggles over the years have inspired so many people. And again, just open that window of opportunity of whatever a big life looks like for them.
So yeah, what are we going to talk about on this podcast? What kind of guests, what are we going to talk about?
So, I mean, obviously, I think fair game is going to be nutrition content, fitness content. Something that I'm really passionate about talking about, and I don't talk about it probably enough, is like business content. It's like I tell people,
we're both business owners and entrepreneurs, and in the space, but for
it's
sure.
Like, how many people, like you included, it's like I was already working for myself, like doing the thing before a lot of my friends got into it. So it'd be like, hey, like I don't know what I'm doing either, but like, hey, this is what I use. These are the systems. It's like, it's been such a gift over the years to help so many friends get on that. And so same thing, it's like, I know that so many people follow me because it's like, hey, again, like if she can do this, I can do this too. So I really love nerding out about business stuff. But it's also mutually something I would never like be like, oh, I'm business coaching. It's like, nah, like that's not my sauce. But I'd say like nutrition, fitness, business content. So much of nutrition, fitness is mindset. It's body image.
Yeah, I definitely, like how we look at things for sure. Yeah, how we approach and what our limiting thoughts and beliefs and things like that, working through that. Yeah, for sure.
So I'd say all of those are fair game. And then I'd say equal parts, it's like at the end of the day, we love talking about, it's like we play video games, like we're super nerds, right? It's like so many people don't realize my oldest brother is actually a video game designer. So I've been, it's just stuff I grew up with. So I'm excited to also just like have a long forum ability to like talk about stuff that I want to rather than, it's like, I feel like sometimes social media, you get stuck playing the algorithm or it's like, you're kind of tied into this box, but it's like, we can really deep dive on whatever we want here. And I think that's, that's super awesome. So it's like, I'm sure there'll be coverage too. It's like so much of nutrition fitness stuff is really talking about your relationships with others, whether that's yourself, your job, the people that you're dating or married to. And so it's like, I'm sure there's going to be so much discussion on relationship stuff. And again, it's just like the mindset stuff, where do these things come from that, again, it's like, how did I transform into this person that was, eating clean and so hyper obsessed about XYZ, getting curious about where that came from. So it's like, I think really the big goal is, with this podcast, how do we help people find freedom in the way they eat, they exercise and live life so that again, they can go on, they can build that dream life and do the things they love.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
It's going
this has been like 5 years in the making, man.
Checking in next with camels from Egypt.
with Jennifer and Nicole for sure.
Dude, it's gonna be litty. It's gonna be a litty titty. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the mic, but super excited too. Because again, it's like to just be able to be a little more unedited, just kind of show up. It's like one of my biggest things that has kept me from starting a podcast is, I bring the big Libra energy of it's like everything in my world has to be pretty. It has to be aesthetic. It has to be, perfect. And it does. It gets in my own way at times because it keeps me, from just doing the thing. It's like I've always loved podcasting. I'm definitely, a long-winded person, but it's like, how is it 2023 and we're just now showing up to do the thing? Well, also, it's like the barrier to entry on social keeps getting higher, right? It's like now everybody got to be like full-time video editor, professional Canva, or, all this stuff. So it's like, man, it's not as simple as in 2017 when, you're just throwing shit at the walls and, praying something sticks. It's like, you got to actually think things out and stuff too. So I'm grateful for you, on that front. Cause it's like, I was like, listen, I'm just going to show up messy, naked and afraid over here and just do the thing. So super excited.
I come from the old school. You should go YouTube, the first episode of Barbell Shrug, man. We shot that shit in a kitchen, in somebody's kitchen, with janky cameras. So sometimes, you just got to get into it. We just got to get into it and do it. But it's going to be exciting. We the guest ideas, is stacked. I look through it. There's some really cool people that I'm really looking forward to talking to and learning about, not just in the fitness space necessarily traditionally, but even people that we know that we're just friends with that are doing cool shit or just are badass athletes, your wakeboarding, I'm actually really excited to talk about even stuff outside of fitness, what we're passionate about outside of fitness, and just talking to people who are passionate about doing big things, man.
Yeah, well, because it's for you, it's again, it's been fun. You ran the St. Jude half marathon during, that was COVID. But same thing, it's you've been trying to get me to go to BJJ, the juju for,
it's gonna happen. It's not a question of if, it's just when.
I know. We can't tell Charlie though. That's got to be an underground. I get really good, and then one day finally go to the gym with him and just drop the knee. Smash. Yeah. But it's I'm very excited because kind of like you said, it's I've just never, this has always been me for social media, but it's there's so many things that it's I could have grown a bigger, faster social media, if I had shown up in a sports bra and booty shorts 24/7, 365, freaking scamming camera angles. And it's just listen.
Protein world.
Yeah. It's listen, if I have to scam, thirst shots and, show off my ass to gain followers, it's I've just never wanted that. It's I've had an excruciatingly slow Instagram growth. I've seen so many people fly past me, but it's the difference, right, is it's just I built my business in a way that I feel good about, and I built a way that I feel, is valuable and stuff like that. And so it's same thing with, with podcasts. It's I get invited to stuff all the time. And it's just listen, I want to live life with people. It's I think Shantae, the movement maestro, is a perfect example. It was she had reached out maybe 2021-ish. And it might have even been 2020. Shoot, I don't know. But it's she had reached out and I was hey, I only podcast in person because I want to come meet you and I want to hug you and go live life with you, grab dinner with you, all that stuff. Right. So it was it was so cool because I got to fly out to California. She lives up in Redondo Beach, but it was we went and grabbed dinner, lifted. She has a really dope, setup in her garage gym. Got to meet her girlfriend, got to actually meet Rupert, her cat, and all this stuff, right? But it's that's always been me. Is it's I just love living life with people, and it's I want to do things a little bit different there. And so it's same thing. It's there's so many people that we could bring on the show because maybe they're super popular and whatever. But it's listen. I'm more about the person than, kind of
the story. Yeah.
So it's what you learn through nutrition coaching is it's everybody has a story. Everybody has, things that they've gone through. And so when we can start to share those stories is when we learn and when we find valuable stuff.
And connect dots and
But you're spot on. It's let's bring in all our cool badass friends that do XYZ related to fitness and training. But it's also let's bring in people that love outdoor stuff, or, again, like you said, like wake surfing. I know we can probably find a couple, really cool jujitsu people.
All right, I got some people. Oh yeah.
But it's like we want to do episodes where it's like, hey, if you're passionate about jujitsu, hey, here's the things Alex has learned the hard way about nutrition, or hey, how do you set up your training, to collaborate and be able to, have the best of both worlds and be able to juggle both. It's like we want to do a lot of episodes like that. I love Q&A episodes. Like that's my sauce. So it's like I love coming in exactly as you said. It's like coming in just dropping the knowledge bomb. So I'm super stoked about those because again, it's like, hey, listen, like if you have questions, like let's go, let's help you navigate that. Yeah. So all of that I think will be really cool. And then obviously we'll do some deep dive episodes about very specific topics. So whether that's, intermittent fasting.
Fat loss.
Yeah, I was going to say like
gaining muscle.
Fat loss, muscle gain, things with, again, just like training, fitness. So, so we'll kind of deep dive on really, go hard on a topic and then, lift and leave type thing. So I think, it's fun and I'm super excited to watch this evolve over time because it's like, I always love too, it's like, hey, listen, like, what do y'all want to hear? And then like, let's go. So just know that like this podcast will be so collaborative in that episode where it's like, we're always going to be asking, what things we can be doing different or, things you want covered. So super stoked about that. But I think that's really all I got for today on our little shoot the shit. So, we're going to, basically the goal is we'll be putting out episodes weekly. So we decided to just kind of rip it. Like I know that most people will be like, yeah, so I recorded like 10 episodes. Like, nah, we're coming in raw. Actually, we're literally going to like record this, toss in and we'll try to get, a little bit ahead on episodes. But goal will basically be one episode per week. Have fun, make wiener jokes. And
that's all, I mean, that's the main thing I think we want to accomplish out of this. And also too, for y'all just to enjoy, have fun, getting perspectives, getting different, viewpoints. And then, again, just learning about different people's lives or just different, how different people approach things. And so
it's going to be good. Mac Daddy, where can people find you?
My Instagram, Alex Q Maclin, super creative. I don't have a cool Instagram name, but it's Alex Q Maclin. That's my Instagram.
And your website is it just
alexmaclin.com? Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on LaurieChristineKing.com. You can find me on Instagram, Laurie Christine King. Basically, as long as you got my name, you're good. I always try to make it easy to find me. But you can find me on social media, dropping nutrition fitness bombs. We'll be moving to
check out Paragon training methods too.
Check out good old Paragon training methods. And it's like we're always just trying to have a fun time on social media, sharing what we're up to and stuff like that. So follow along, headed to San Diego, so you will get all the palm trees and beachy vibes this next month. But that's all we got, y'all. Deuce.